Thompson's there, Billy in. A goal, Chris Billy, Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Chris Billy's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Ruby and Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello and welcome to the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. It's Christmas time. It's time for merriment, happiness, getting together with a group and enjoying Christmas in whatever zone you live in. Unless you live in Huddersfield, then the odds are that you're quite fed up this Christmas. I'm Matt Shaw and I've got a pair of Scrooges ready to say bar humbug to Town's performance against Wigan. It's Kosi Bear and the vegan prince himself, Ian Kilroy. How are we doing, boys?
We're banging, mate. We're still living the dream as a Terrier season card holders.
Although you jump into Matt, you jump into conclusions there. Who says we're going to go in on this? Who says we're ready to pour humbug onto the Christmas festivities?
Yeah,
Who says
didn't they in 2015? It was a good point, that.
I'll be surprised if you don't.
Oh, wait, 2012,
Underdogs.
13. Yeah, I forgot what it is.
Right, boys. So it's Christmas, and I'd like to give a big shout out to you guys, and in particular, our Patreon subscribers as well. And one man in particular. So Merry Christmas this year to Andy Mortby from my Auntie Lisa, who wishes you all the best, as do we from the podcast. So Merry Christmas, Andy. And if anyone else wants a shout out, just let me know, and we'll do it. I saw my Auntie Lisa earlier. We had a big family function, and she says her pal at work's a big fan of the podcast. So I said, you know what, we'll give him a shout out. Thanks for your support, Andy. Unfortunately, the performances on the field aren't as good as the support for the Patreon, so never mind. But lads, I've got a confession to make. I didn't go on Saturday. The reason I didn't go, so Charlie started training, my little boy Charlie started training with York City. It's the other side of Bradford, one of those development centre things. So we went there and it finishes at 11:30, and I could have made it to the ground for just before 12:30, or just into Huddersfield for just before 12:30, probably 10 minutes late into the ground. He didn't want to go. It's on Sky, and I just thought no one in my row was going. The people that I go with weren't going. They've had enough, and I just thought, you know what, I can't be bothered. I'll just take him home and watch it on Sky. And I'm glad I did, because I didn't enjoy a single minute of it, in all honesty. It just feels very sad that I feel that way. A lot of other people feel that way. I mean, if it wasn't on Sky, I would have made the effort and gone to the game, but I took the easy way out, in all honesty. But it just feels like I've tried to get Neil on the pod, Johnny Gillespie, and I think Neil never replied. He can't be bothered coming on talking about this rubbish. He's got better things to do. Johnny's busy, to be fair. Pozzy's at the theatre watching Lion King or some random thing at some production in Bradford. And Phil Senior asked Phil Senior to come on. He couldn't be bothered, didn't want to do it. I think he felt he might get in trouble for what he might say as well. But, you know, and it's just that kind of thing at the minute. I think people are just... Apathy is the killer in football, and we've gone back in, and I you know, Huddersfield's what I do. You know what I mean? On a Saturday, I go to loads of games. I've been to hundreds of games and thousands even, and I just couldn't be bothered on Saturday. Neil couldn't be bothered. He didn't go. Kosi, you went. Killer, you went. Was it hard for you to motivate yourselves to go down to the ground for a 12:30 kickoff?
Yeah, massively, Matt. I said to a couple of mates, look, do you fancy going for a walk and a pub lunch, and just, you know, I don't think we'd even watched it on Sky Go if it was on, and that as well. But because one of his friends had passed away that I mentioned last week, we thought we'd, you know, go to the game and just get more the social thing after and that as well. And I think me and Killer were saying before the game, between us, we sound like a couple of touts or something, but I think I had about 5 different tickets to sit in any stand I wanted yesterday. And I, obviously, as you can tell, I go to a running club on a Saturday morning, but I got a bus from my flatmate at 20 to 12, and you'd be touch and go where I live down Liverpool, down there past the garden centre, Three Nuns and Beeffield, what's it called now? The
Miller and Carter.
Yeah, Miller and Carter, and that you'd be really struggling, and it just breezed past in the bus, and that's a sign of everything that it's all about. Just total apathy, just sad, just sadness. I mean, I were at Northampton on Tuesday. I kind of used that more of as a crutch, really, just to kind of get away from the stresses, obviously, of the bereavement and stuff and that as well, and just the journey down and all that stuff. So it wasn't really, obviously, not to go for the game. And it was quite interesting on Tuesday because most of the people that was in there were Southern Terriers, Southern-based Terriers. Obviously, I can't for everyone, but there are a lot of familiar faces. You always hear some strange, different kind of chants, I would say, so when you go to kind of the Southern Terrier guy, wins more games and stuff. But and then obviously that it kind of went from there to the Saturday. But no, it's like that, Matt. We're back. I'm sure you can pick up one of our podcasts from many other years ago when this apathy just can't be asked to go, no interest. But laughably, when the van was one, it said 16,424, but I think you can shave about. I thought
take
it was
the one off the front,
sub 10,000. And that as well, and just sadness, mate. Just sadness. How it has become, and even more sad than that, because I was in the Kilmarnock yesterday, and when you go in, we've said it many times, but honestly, the I've not noticed it before, but I've been in a couple of times this year, and I just kind of walked straight to my seat. But the paintings of like the old badges and the kind of the stuff that has been put in, it's absolutely fantastic, mate. It really is good. Like inside the ground, I think it's really good. Leading Edge, one of my friends is kind of the owner there. I think it's them that do it all, isn't it? The signage, the fascia, the stuff, obviously the PA system that kind of went there, obviously mocked by everyone but if we were at 8 unbeaten, everyone would be saying how good it was. But it's all lost in amongst the absolute dross that we're seeing on the pitch. So that's what makes me sad, really. There's some people doing a lot of good work in that club. And Kevin Nagel's done a lot of good work off the pitch. And we've talked about Rob and everyone else, but it's just all sucked up and lost with the dross on the pitch. So it's just huge frustration. But for me, just like going yesterday was more of a social thing. And honestly, if someone said to me, Kosi, let's go to Malham Cove or Wesley Head for a walk, and then we'll go to a boozer, I'd have snapped that hand off. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm Mr. Loyal, because that's the reason I was there yesterday.
Cowshed loyal, unlike you, Killer. You were in with the Cowshed loyal, I should say.
Yeah, that was a strange atmosphere, Killer. I bet it would a bit. How did it feel before the game? Was it because the Smile a While came on, but you were very quiet, and I thought, this is a.
It was strange. So I had to go yesterday, and to be fair, I'd have gone anyway. I'm a proper fan. I'd have gone no matter what, lads. I don't know what you two. It's like, Matt, I'll tell you what though, choosing people for this podcast tonight, it's like when Mike Bassett got the job for England. No one else are interested, and he was the only one left. So Kosi, that's probably you today, mate. Unfortunately, I'm here most weeks, so it's fine. But no, so Lucy's, my wife's cousin is here from Australia. She lives in Melbourne. She's come over. She's not a sports person whatsoever. She's just got into uni to study law. She's really smart, really bookish, in that she's been to Haworth today to see the Brontes parsonage and all that kind of stuff, right? But I thought, right, Saturday morning, I've had enough of the kids, because obviously everyone's ill at the moment, so they're here all the time with the flu that's going around. We're suffering in this household, and with the amount of people here, it could be a different variant compared to what everybody else gets. So anyway, getting out of the house, it was nice, but we went down, and by the time we got there, it was about 12:10, but there was no one there. It was pretty much empty. And I know we fill our stands pretty late, don't we, most games? Yeah. But again, all of a sudden, the players are walking out onto the pitch, and I look around, I'm thinking, where is everybody? There was next to nobody there. Honestly, I think attendance-wise, I was asking Lee Morris prior to this, Matt, wasn't I, if that was the lowest Saturday visual attendance I've seen at the new stadium on a Saturday. And it's got to be pretty close for a league game. There was so many empty seats. I know it was announced as 16,000, but when people like you, Matt, can't be asked, it's really sad. I just want to check in on you. Are you all right? Are you good, mate? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you feeling all right? Because it is serious, though. Like what it takes for us lot to kind of not be as interested as we are usually to go takes a lot. And we're only 20 games into the season. right?
Yeah.
I don't want to get too much into the Lee Grant in-out stuff until later on. That's obviously next thing on the agenda, Matt. But it's sad to be so early on in the season, having done so much good work off the field, like you say, in the summer, and new transfers coming in, 28,000 signed and sealed, delivered episodes, Matt, that we had to sit through and do. And for only be 20 games in, with the 8th before kickoff yesterday. I can't remember what we were before kickoff, but it wasn't. But it feels like we're miles away. It feels like we're miles off. And that's one of those things where you can look at where you are in the table. It means fuck all, right? Because when we watch every single game and you go to every single game and you feel it out and you can see the body language and you know what's going on, we all know what we're going through at the moment is shocking, right? It's really, really bad. And it is sad. I'm with you guys. It's sad. It's really sad for it to set in this early in the season, which I think going into it, a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us had such great hopes for. So for it to be so soon into it and for everybody to be at this point is sad. It is sad. I think that's the correct word for it.
I just cutting in there. I think one of the things that someone pointed out to me is it's a fair point. The other seasons you could say, well, people had cheap season cards, so it's like, what, you're not going to lose anything. There's a lot of people paid some good coin this year. I know. Yeah,
well, that was something that's fair, Kosi, that, right? Because that is a point that Kevin Nagle spoke about before, saying we've got 4,000 fans not turning up, and it was kind of used as a bit of an argument, right, to put season ticket prices up so more people came because he felt like they'd invested more, and then they'd spend more in the stadium, so ultimately would earn more money from it. To me, looking at the people in the stadium, I struggle to see how that's going to work fiscally or financially at the end of the season. That's quite interesting, actually, because I haven't picked up on that, but you are right on that, yeah.
And it is a worry, and they're like kind of moving it. This could fill the podcast. Forget about any football, Matt. But people, on the back of kind of last season, and loads of new signings and a new manager, I'll buy my season card probably begrudgingly at that prices. Who's going to renew? If things don't change, who's going to renew? And it's worrying. And Scott Bradley called, I think, Kevin Nagle out on it, and Kevin Nagle bit, but it is so bad that, and it's just like. It is so worrying in a lot of ways, but and I don't think Bradford City's good season is helping much either, because it's it's stinking, man.
No idea how they're doing what they are. No. Signed, sealed, sacked it off, killer. That's what maybe this episode should be called. Let's talk. Well, I suppose we have to talk about the game, don't we? At some point, and within a minute, we've got a talking point, haven't we? Murray Wallace, Kosi's looking.
We disagree, Matt, don't we? We disagree, mate.
I don't feel strongly either way, but you seem to think you want him on attempted murder charges for this one.
I was sat so near it, Matt. I could almost touch Murray, but I thought he went off. I think he stayed on just because it was 1 minute. I honestly think it was that. I think ref can't send someone off this early and stuff, but. I remember going to Wigan once watching rugby league, and Adrian Morley got sent off within 58 seconds, I think, for smashing in Australia.
The Ashes were that were amazing, that one.
Yeah, and I just thought, what is he doing? But then I thought, well, if it's red, is a red, no matter 1 minute or 80 minutes. But I thought it was terrible, mate. And I get there were probably the malice wasn't there, but I tell you what, that referee, Matt, I can't believe I'm saying this, but as a fellow Baldy, like. I think his sideboards that he's got. I remember him from before. What does he say to hairdressers to get him like that? Look cool as hell, mate. Cool.
Darren Drysdale.
Respect to Darren Drysdale for his sideboards, but and for keeping Murray on the pitch for letting him to score and that as well. But it was, one of those things. I think when you see naked eye, I think that is off, and we couldn't have argued either way. But they made a big scene of it, the Wigan guys, which kind of infuriated the Kilnabank. We don't take much to get the Kilnabank infuriated, to be honest with you, But when honestly, mate, and I've looked back on them replays, and to me, it nails it even more. But obviously, you kind of see it different, and so did Darren Drysdale, luckily for us.
Well, I mean, if he sent him off, I wouldn't argue too strongly because he's booked him. I don't think I argue too strongly either. He's gone to volley the ball, he's missed it, and his follow-throughs clipped him on the hip.
Man, that guy that got sent off last year that what it exit? No, one exit. Who was it? In front of, what it Luton? I can't remember it. Wow, in front of the Kilner. The Kilner got him sent off, didn't they? I can't remember it was.
Oh, for Charlton.
That was it, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I thought it was something like that, but it were...
Docket, was it Docket?
Yeah,
Charlton,
at the time, I'm like, oh my God, and like, but to me, I would know worse than that, but...
no, I didn't think that were a red card, though. I mean, he's glanced him. I mean, you could argue that he's out of control, and it's a red card, or you can argue that he's gone for the ball and he's kind of followed through. And I think at one point it looks like he's going to go through him, and then he kind of turns out of it and clips him. And I mean, I think he's tried to avoid it, but like I say, if he sends him off, I don't think I argue too much. If he yellow cards, I'm not arguing. I think we've probably chalked that down to getting away with one, possibly.
Do you not think I thought he raked him? I thought he raked him afterwards. For me, I understand how the first kind of contact is him trying to clear the ball or get to the ball, but then to me, Wallace rakes his foot down his leg a bit, and I think it's.
I think he's trying to pull. I think he's trying to pull away. That's why.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's hard to see it sometimes back, but honestly, at that point of the game, I was still fucking frothing about the lineup. So I don't even want to. I missed it. I actually missed it. And Amelie, Lucy's cousin, I'm sat next to her, and she's got no idea what's going on. And I'm going through it. I mean, like Joe Taylor, he's not even on the squad. Are we going 3-5-2? We're going 3-5. Where's Feeney? What? Why is Alfie Main? Why is Bojan subbing? I'm going through this and I'm getting more and more wound up. And I'm like, Emily, nothing will happen for the first few minutes anyway. And she's like, well, something's happening now. I looked up. I had no idea what had happened at all. And then it looked like it was going to be very calm. Like you say, the Wigan lads, they were pretty adamant it were going to be sent off. And when Drysdale goes to talk to the liner, that really doesn't end in a red card. So I'm waiting for the red card, but I want over lineup, over the selection. I was just frothing from the first minute. And whilst I will claim that I did not start any chance at all throughout that entire game, I was frothing from prior to kick off because of the selection that we went with. And had he been sent off at that point, had he been sent off at that point, could you imagine what the atmosphere would have been like from then on out? Could you actually imagine how much worse it would have been from the offset? But for me, Matt, I think we will look at, and if VAR's involved, I think he's gone. I think he'd have gone for that.
Killer, I'm no medical expert, right? But just go back to Northampton, and I don't know if it showed much on the telly. Feeney were knackered after 20 minutes, mate. He were knackered. He were lobbling. The play had gone down the other end. He were right near where we were because they're defending behind us in the first half. And he were like looking at the bench as if to say, take me off. He were done. And I couldn't believe that he stayed on.
Did well to be knackered when he didn't play, Kosi. But
you what, sorry?
Did well to be knackered when he didn't play. You heard about Gooch or Feeney?
No, on Tuesday.
Oh, right, okay.
Northampton. So I kind of going back to that, but to me, we're done then. And then he carried on playing. Then he kind of went down again, and I'm thinking, guys, take him off.
Yeah,
he played him, and then he didn't play. But obviously, I don't have a clue about. Yeah, I don't have a clue about. Maybe he just played with a dead leg or whatever. But whatever it's done, it's not. Yeah.
Sometimes it get like Killer will say. Sometimes the adrenaline gets you through, doesn't it? And then it's when you stop moving and when you go to sleep on it and you wake up the next day. That's when the problems. Yeah, that's when the problems can start. I want to talk. Yeah, I do. I want to talk about the lineup though, because I want to get Killer frothing, because basically on the driving, if you listen to the driving, we called the result. We called how Wigan would score against us down our right hand side. And we called that Lee Grant would play 3-5-2 because he's so slow at changing anything that he wouldn't dare not play it again. And it wasn't suitable. It wasn't a suitable system for Wigan. And the lineup wasn't suitable. And he's so slow to change. But we knew he was going to do that because he's so slow to change anything. And if he does change something, he likes to kind of like plant the seeds and let it grow a little bit. So we knew he wasn't going to change from 3-5-2, even though it was really unsuitable. And when he picked that back three, I mean, Balker on the right, you were hoping, but Balker was bad again. He's gone off it. Yeah, he's gone off it on him.
Yep.
But I just thought it was just, and Alfie May as the central target man again. I mean, Alfie May is just going to end up, I think, ripping Lee Grant's head off at this rate, because he's basically playing him in any position apart from the one he's good at, which is playing off a front man. So he looked severely annoyed again, and I thought Alfie May was rubbish. But when you play him in a role which isn't to his strengths, then that's going to happen. Dion Charles has been well off it for a while. He keeps playing him. Midfield, Ledson came back in. Ledson was really poor. And when the going got tough in the second half, he was the first one to disappear, and he should be the first one to stand up because he's your captain. I like Sean Rowan though. I think his passing from the back's really good, but I don't want to see it from wing back. I want to see it from that left centre back position. I think that'll be a lot more effective in there. Some of the balls he clips around the corner and he curls around the back of the defence are actually really, really clever, really good. And his passing was a plus point in that half. I thought Murray Wallace was okay as well after the assault that Kosi's. But for me, that first half, I thought the design really with that 3-5-2 kill is to not lose the game. And at home against Wigan, I know Wigan we think they're better than what their recent results are suggesting and their positions suggesting. We do think they're better than that. But at home against a team that's in the middle of League One, when you're pretending to be a top 2 challenger, you've got to be a bit braver, haven't you, than effectively? Because to be honest, Rowan was playing left back with Murray Wallace at one point, and you've literally got 5 at the back at home. Gooch did push on a little bit, but that's another selection. We mentioned this as well. Gooch, in the press conference, Lee Grant's pretty much said Gooch is on his deathbed. He's been really struggling. And we did say there would be a point where Sorensen has to come out for Gooch because he's played quite a few games. But not this one. Not when Gooch is... And you could visibly see that he wasn't 100% and he was still suffering from some effects on the goal and things like that. And you just think the team selections just get stranger, don't they?
Do you know that there's a sketch with 2 Ronnies, I think it is, on Mastermind, where the speciality questions are answering the question previously. And that's what Lee Grant's doing at the moment, right? He's picked the right team this week for Cardiff, but that was weeks ago.
Yeah,
it's mental. It is doing me in this, and I have a few things to say this evening, and we'll get to them just yet. But the team selection was an absolute joke, Matt. It was a joke, and I don't know any other manager in our recent history that would have picked that team. I cannot see anything within it that makes any sort of sense for the team we're playing against. We picked it, Matt, on the drive-in, like you said. We got the score right. We got the way they play. Wigan, they ping it long, right? They don't let you play in the middle. They don't play in the middle too much, but they don't let you play in the middle. So you have to try and do something else. Balker was absolutely pointless because of that you can't drive into midfield because Wigan are going to be on you in that point. But like you say, Matt, it's not a back 3 with Rowan as a left centre-back that then can kind of rotate into a back 4 at times if we want to and shift and be a little bit dynamic against a team that are going to sit in a little bit. No, we've gone with 3 proper centre-backs. I know Balker can play football a little bit, but he's still a proper centre-back, innit? Against a team that are going to be pretty happy to just settle and try and hit you on the counter. It was just the totally wrong setup. But Matt, the thing that gets me the most is we knew this. Everybody in the stadium knew this. Everybody at every point of that game knew the team wasn't right for the game. There's only one person that kind of thought it was right. And even after the game, he talks about how we had it in control and all this kind of nonsense, Matt. It was the wrong system with the wrong players. How Alfie May comes in for Bojan Radulovic, it baffles me, Matt. I don't understand how anyone can sit there with a 3-5-2 and then change one of your top 2 strikers, taking out the big guy that offered you that little bit of physicality when we've seen Alfie May and Dion Charles play together before and just not work at any point because it means Alfie May does the dirty work and doesn't do the stuff he's best at. It was an absolutely mind-boggling decision, Matt, that lineup for me. I can't... Again, it's another one I won't be able to forget, but the problem is this isn't the first time it's happened either. I think this is the worst one we've seen, but it's not the first time it's happened. It very much is a trait. And like you say, Gooch has risen like the Undertaker and suddenly played in right back against a lad, Rodriguez, who was really fast and basically was the main issue all game, as we said he would be, because that's how we can play. Yet Town weren't ready for that. And I find that inexcusable. I find that lazy setup and, again, unacceptable.
I think lazy team selection is absolutely spot on for that one. I thought it was lazy and I thought not a lot of thought had gone into it, apart from must not lose this game. That was the only thing I think that was going through his head. Stay solid, don't lose the game, don't lose your job. Basically, I think was the way that we went. Town score. It's a good free kick. Murray Wallace on the end of it. I mean, we've been told by Barry from the Wigan podcast that Sam Tickle's the best young goalkeeper outside the Premier League. He's a goalkeeper I like, and he makes a great save from Bojan later on. I think he should save that. In all honesty, I think the best young goalkeeper outside the Premier League should push that round the post. It's not a bad header though from Murray. I don't want to take that away from him. He gets in there well. He's got a big head on him, and he guides it into not into the corner, but towards the general area. And I think at that point, Town probably deserved to edge in front. I think they were slightly better than Wigan without offering masses of threat. I think there's Alfie May got down the left and pulled one across, didn't he, at one point? Someone pulled one across, for Alfie May. It was Charles, wasn't it? Pulled it across for Alfie May, and the defender did well to take it off his toes, and there was another few flash points. Ledson had a shot which tickles over the bar, shall we say. But other than that, Town weren't really peppering the goal, and like we said last week, and Town don't build pressure. They kind of do nothing. Oh, there's a chance. Nothing chance. There's no pressure. They don't build and turn the screw or anything like that, and that's what frustrates us. But there were a couple of chances, and I think the header killer. I think at that point, that Town, to be fair, probably deserved to go in.
I thought Town were all right in first half. I think what you've got to remember is that we're 4 games we out to win. We've got confidence shot to pieces. I've got people next to me after 85 seconds effing this and bollocks to that and swearing their heads off and stuff.
Trying to touch Murray Wallace.
The atmosphere is toxic, mate. And unfortunately, with we haven't really got much cajoles in our team. And so I expected it to be a tough old ride against I thought they were really poor Wigan. I really thought they were as bad as their shirts. Horrendous jerseys with them, weren't they? But
do you know what Augie described that as, Kosi? Do you know the colour?
Yeah, what was it?
Because I think at this point, because we're still on our way back from football, I think he described it as blackcurrant mousse. The
blackcurrant, that's it. Yeah.
I thought that was quite creative from Augie, to be fair. I liked that.
At half time, I met a couple of guys in the maybe the bar is so low that I was just happy that we were winning, but I thought we were all right without being brilliant. I thought it was acceptable. I thought we deserved to win.
Pretty poor.
And in regards to like the game, I thought it was a great time to score just before half time. And then, but the one thing I said coming back up upstairs to my friends, I says it's not going to take much, even though there's no evidence at all that Wigan are going to score. In my opinion, the fragility of our team, the anxiousness of the stadium, toxicity, is that a word?
Toxicity,
yeah.
Also a good album.
It wouldn't take much, but obviously, little did I know how we were going to concede. But it was just, I think that's the frustrating thing. Just a second goal, we shouldn't need to have a second goal to have some kind of like control. But it was just, to me, you're always worried that something's going to happen. But I can't believe the contrast of the two halves. I'm absolutely stunned even now how the difference of the two halves was shocking. I know they say goals change games.
I won't go that far. I thought it was first. I think because we have this disagreement. I think me and Neil watched it on TV, and we thought the first half was boring, slow, pedestrian. But we were the better side doing it, and I just thought Wigan turned it up second half.
Yeah, but I think first half Wigan were just trying to. I think they over-respected us. I thought they thought we were going to be better. And realistically, bar the headed chance, Ledson had this sort of, like you said, but there wasn't much. We didn't really create anything clean cut. And if we don't score from the set piece, I'm with you. I thought Tickle could have done a bit better. To be fair, Wigan's zonal marking scheme was awful for that. Nobody follows Wallace at all. He's a long way out from goal. Like you say, Matt, it's a good header, but Tickle for me should do better. It was probably just about deserved, but only just. And again, 3-5-2 in this system with the players we've got, it doesn't create a gluttony of great chances. It just doesn't. And to me, if that doesn't go in, we can go into half time and they'd still have gone about it the second half the same way. I think their game plan was to keep it tight in the first half, wait till the fans turn a bit. And okay, we did get ahead, but I'm with you, Matt. I was talking to Pozza about it at half time, and I thought it was good enough that first half. But again, we were speaking about it feels very much like Bolton did, where we kind of edged it a little bit, got ahead, but it never felt like we were in control of the outcome of the game. Of the first half, yeah. But it felt like we didn't have much more to give. We were pedestrian. We were still passing about. There was still no tempo, which gets me annoyed more than anything else, even more than the team selection. You're at home, even at 0-0. Lift the tempo, go fast, get the ball into play as much as you can. Try and create something from nothing. We never do that under Lee Grant. That just does not happen unless we're chasing a game right at the death. And even then, it's questionable whether it happens every game. But that's not there. Whereas with Wigan, Matt, as you mentioned, it just felt like they could step it. They had quite a bit more to give. It felt like they were playing within themselves by design, whereas we just didn't look to have much more of a clue. It was kind of, that's what we are. We don't have much more than that. And you always feel with this team, even at 0-0, even 1-0 up, the players aren't happy with each other. And at any possible moment, if there is a mistake, they aren't going to be happy with each other, and they will talk about it quite visibly. And observationally, you can see it on the field. It still felt on a bit of a knife edge, because I felt like that in the stadium. Even though, like you say, that first half was a deserved 1-0 lead just about, it didn't feel like we were definitely going to take 3 points at the same time.
No. I mean, the second half I thought was absolutely horrendous.
Shocking.
I thought we were pathetic from the very first moment. We just went back within ourselves. Wigan sensed it. Wigan sensed we were absolutely awful, and they battered us for a good 15, 20 minutes, I think. Just after the goal, they hit the crossbar. That good effort from Rodriguez when that hit the crossbar. That we were rocking and there for the taking. But the goal is frustrating. When you watch the goal on TV, it's two things. It's an error from Nichols, but it's also a brilliant ball. How he arcs it round, and I think the way it arcs round confuses Nichols. I think Nichols' starting position is too low. That's what causes the issue, and then he starts and thinks, "No, I'm not going to get that. I'll go back," and then he kind of just it comes out, makes himself big, but leaves the gap between his legs. And I'll credit the guy. I thought it was a great finish.
Yeah, you know what, Matt? At the time,
really
because I was kind of high up in the kiln, I thought Gooch is a bad at judgment, but no, when I watched the guy, obviously his age and the pace, it's not even a debate who's going to win the ball there. But I thought, yeah, I've got to stick it back what I said about Gooch with my mouth and on the text last night, because no, I don't think to blame. But it was really strange, Matt, because it was like time stood still. Or like Nichols, like, hang on a minute, mate, he's got it. Yeah. He's got it. He's going to come and get it.
He should do better.
No, he's not going to get it. Shit, that scored is like 1,500 Wigan fans going mental, and then a bit of trouble behind the goal, which I've seen for a while. But but you know what, Matt? It's like one of those that I think, mind you, our competition is that low. But if someone smashed it in for 30 yards or whatever, it's like fair enough. A bit like his second effort that hit the bar. But it's just that when you're on a bad run like we are, and when the crowd are, the last thing you just need to do is concede a goal like that. Just anything, if it had been quality play, you can kind of take it. But that just is a punch in the stomach. Like, we just...
It's the second goal in a week that's come from indecision from him, really. I mean, the goal against Northampton. He probably should come and push that away. Sorensen.
It just shows you that if you chop or change keepers all the time, these mistakes creep in no matter what the keeper is. And I do think this is another issue. I think this is an issue from changing your keeper all the time.
Goodman had got there and cleared it all. Is that a pointless thing to say?
No, it doesn't matter if he would or he wouldn't. But Lee Nichols, if he'd have played every game this season, would have gone there. To me, I'm a bit. I disagree with you entirely, boys. To be honest, I think Gooch is entirely at fault initially. He's far too high. The ball turns over in midfield. He is faster than him. He has to know his own limitations, and he should have been 15 yards deeper. Straight away, you've got to turn and go, and he doesn't. If you look back on the highlights, he's not even watching Rafa, as Wigan called Ryan Lowe called him after the game. He didn't watch him, and by the time he sees where he is, he's never going to catch him up. And with you guys, Nichols should have come out sooner. My issue with Nichols is he hesitated, and he kind of did the worst thing possible, which is you wait, you go late. You either don't go at all, right, or you go early. But he just waited, and as the ball drifted away and there was clear Gooch wasn't going to get back, to me, lads, his mistakes on the pair of them. If one of them do the job properly, it's not a goal, and the game could go a different way. I'm not entirely sure it would have. I think Wigan might have thrown a little bit more at it and would have been in trouble. But for me, it was just turning off. But it wasn't even that bothered me so much. Straight away, Gooch and Nichols are having a go at each other in front of Cowshed. Straight away, both of them bollocking each other, pointing, shouting at each other. And this happens every time we concede a goal. Sometimes you concede a goal. Sometimes you make a mistake. Why do we not have one person on the pitch or on the sideline telling everybody to calm the shit down, get it together, and we'll go again? No, they don't do that. They don't do that.
I don't have a problem with
that.
They
all still fight with each other. No, but cause I'm telling you, as a coach myself, a 2-bit coach, and I've always been a captain as my team. I've always been the captain. If I'm captain of that team, I'm straight over to them, splitting them up. Let them want nothing to do with it. Get straight over to them, split them up, say, lads, okay, it's a mistake. We forget about it. We'll talk about it after the game. But now we've got a game to win. They don't. They just blame each other. They blame each other. And straight away, Amelie, who I'm with, she turned to me and she goes, look at the body language of everyone. And for the next 15 minutes, when we were absolutely battered down that right-hand side with Gooch, Matt, and again, Lee Grant's making no change. We've sat through another 15 minutes here where we could have lost the game because that guy in the dugout doesn't see what's happening on the pitch. The lineup's a joke. The first half's passable. It goes to shit, and he does nothing for 20 minutes. And it is by the grace of Lee Nichols' bar that we aren't losing. Because when Rafa cuts in on that second time, Gooch, what's he doing there? Showing him inside again. My goodness, how
Why
many
does he
defenders
do?
do we
Why
have
does
that
he
do
do
that?
nothing? What is he thinking to do nothing? I
don't know. He just does
get it.
nothing. He just stands there. No one talks to him from his bench. None of the other coaches get up and have a word. He's very much on his own. I don't know what goes on there. To me, it looks like he makes the decisions. Everyone else is there to help with training a little bit. But it comes down to match days. He's in control of everything, or in control of not doing anything. Because that's what happened, Matt. We should have lost that game for me because we didn't change Gooch off quick enough, because he was struggling clearly. And all the pressure were coming down that side, Matt, for 20 minutes. It took, I think, for this. I think they scored in the 52nd, and the subs were 71, 72 minutes. It was 20 minutes of getting battered, and he did nothing. And okay, if we didn't lose the game, so you might say, well, it worked out. We calmed it down again. We all know watching that game that we were lucky to still be in it by that point, because he didn't do anything, and they kept doing the same thing over and over again. And again, 20 games in, lads, you should see some sort of progression on this, but this is something Lee Grant does week in and week out. Sorensen at Mansfield, same thing. He kind of looked like he got injured, and we got battered down that side with him and Wiles for 10, 15 minutes. And okay, we ended up seeing out that game and winning. But in this situation, we didn't win the game because of that problem, and we ended up nearly losing it. And we don't seem to be learning from it. We don't seem to be learning anything at any phase of the game. And that's my biggest issue with everything that went on Saturday. That 15-minute spell, Matt, like you said, where we got absolutely battered, and there's a lack of decision to do anything.
It was horrendous, wasn't it? And we only stopped getting battered for the rest of the game because Wigan took the foot off.
Yeah, they did. They went into the shell. I didn't get why they were thinking. Yeah, it was weird. You know what, really weird? I know a couple of Wigan fans, and they were saying, "Oh, because I thought we deserved a point," and this, that. It was almost like in their heads, they come into another team that are like flying, and a draw is a good result. And because I thought, if they're Wigan, because I said to my mate, stick or twist if you're Wigan, and he was saying, twist, we're there for the taking. And like, well, then they stopped, and then they were like backing off and letting us, and we offered nothing. And it's like, then they were taking it into corners. I thought, wow, they're happy with a draw, which when I'm thinking, when they need to play a bit of catch up with the realistic playoff contenders, which everyone seems to be a playoff contender in this crap division. And yeah, it was weird. And then it's like, but we weren't good enough to like think, okay, they're back enough, let's go for it.
No, I think, Kosi, I do think that the foot off the gas came from Wigan, because we dropped deeper. So our defensive line, eventually, when we did make the subs and brought Sorensen off, our back three got deeper and deeper. And if you remember, that's when we started passing it across the line all the time. And now we did it a lot of the time throughout the entire game. But as soon as we made those subs on the 72nd minute, we just passed it even more across the back just to absorb pressure out of the game. And to be fair, I didn't mind that for a few moments. They're on the aggression. You can sit back as the home team just for a few moments, just to take a breather, reset and go again. But what we did is we reset, and then we just decided, oh, let's not even bother. Let's just take the guys off that can create anything instead. Let's get even worse. Let's make it clear that we're not going to try and win this game. Let's make it clear that we're pretty happy with what we've got, and we'll stick to what we've planned prior to the game, because it was a masterclass. I tweeted out yesterday, that second half was an absolute masterclass in how to lose your job by losing the fans. I actually don't think Lee Grant could have made any decisions worse than what he did yesterday to make the situation and the environment as awful as it turned out to be by the end of the game.
No, let's round up the game first. I mean, I can't. That Dion Charles header, I just can't talk about it because it's one of the worst headers I think I've ever seen. He's literally gets ahead of his man, and he has a free header at goal, and he
Matty's just come back to being
finds
garbage,
the burger van. He finds the burger van in the corner of the stadium. He's working hard. I thought he worked quite hard, and he worked the channels quite well, but the quality on the ball was just not there.
It's just like the subs. Sorry, just to move back onto them. You knew Ledson were coming off. You knew Kazuma were coming on. You knew Gooch were coming off. It's just like for like. You just knew what was going to happen. It's like, just try something a bit different, mate. And he did
switch to 4-4. He did switch to a back four, didn't he, with about 15 left, which I think made us a bit better straight away. But it's too little, too late by this point, especially because the players have gone as well mentally at that
especially point. When you take off May, and Castledine, the fans are already not happy. And you don't read the room. You don't read the room and think.
I gotta be honest, Alfie May was crap. Alfie May was crap.
Yeah,
but taking Castledine off, who was the best player on the pitch by a mile for us, just
it was like a pantomime, Matt. He even did it in the right order. You took May off, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's a joke." Take Charles off, regardless of performance-wise. I'm with you. I thought Charles off more than May.
I mean, Dion Charles.
I think in this situation, Matt, in this situation as a manager, you think to yourself, "My job's in trouble. I'm in trouble here, right? I'm in trouble. I'm going to leave on the senior pros that have been there and done it before, because if I'm to get out of this situation, they're the guys that are most likely to help me. That's what I do, and I think that's what most people would do that, right? But when May trundles off and you're thinking, is he going to shake his hand? And then next thing, it's Castledine coming off. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, the Castledine one got me. I mean, Alfie May, I'd have probably taken Charles off. And because I want to see Bojan and May together. I want to see May and May play. Everyone wants to see May play off Bojan, don't they? Apart from Lee Grant.
Just one.
So I don't. But I didn't think May played well at all. But again, he's not been played to his strengths. So play him to his strengths. Do you know what I mean? And play him with next to Bojan. And then the Castledine one was just. I mean, Ben Wiles came on and he did something straight away, didn't he? Where he beat his man and put the ball over. But put them both on. Do you know what I mean? You're trying to win the game. Put them both on. And it just didn't.
What was sad, Matt, in the last 15 minutes, Matt, there were nothing from the crowd. And it's like, I get that, there were the odd chanting your football shit and you sacked in the money, but the last 15 minutes were played out in near silence, mate. And it was sad. There were people drifting away. There were nothing, mate, from the crowd. They were nothing. We've been trained on a diet of 7 years of rubbish, mate. And the people that were there are the proper, like, the loyal ones, and they were absolutely nothing. There were no anger, no hatred, no people chucking the season card. There were no people smashing seats.
I can't agree with that. I can't agree with that, honestly. When Castledine went off, genuinely, I looked around, and it was the most united I've ever seen the stadium. All the fans were fuming. There were bodies in FM lower giving it, and there were people. I know, but it's. But and obviously I was in Cowshed and the chanting for Lee Grant went on for quite a while. I never take part. To be fair, I don't really chant. I'm not that kind of guy. I normally sit there trying to work out why people sit in that stand because the goal's in the way and I can't see what's going on. I found honestly, I'm back to sitting with you. I love the atmosphere. I love the atmosphere.
Sun's out, mate. In North Stand.
I love the atmosphere. I love what they do. But for me, to podcast on it to try and break the game down, I've got to be up in the heavens with you, Matt. But the anger was there. There were people fuming there because, like I said, I don't know what it's like around where you were, but everybody else I spoke to where they were, my brother-in-law sits in the Panasonic Upper or whatever you want to call it nowadays. And he said around there, they were fuming. They were absolutely fuming from the substitutions when Castledine goes off till the end of the game. And it was, I thought it was, again, for 20 games in and for how well we started the season, for it to get to that point on the back of 2 subs was quite remarkable. But understandable at the same time, which I think is quite surprising. But because they were really angry around us, I'll be totally honest, mate.
Joe Taylor was dropped from the squad for the game, and he's obviously got his agent to get busy straight away. Peter O'Rourke really unusually tweeting that, Joe Taylor is fit for selection today, but hasn't been picked. So Joe Taylor's obviously got his agent to get involved ahead of January to get his name around there. That you can see that coming a mile off, can't you? Joe Taylor's not playing. He doesn't deserve to play on his efforts alone. So if he thinks he does, then
we'll drive him.
Completely deluded.
When I go, I'll pick him up.
Yeah, he's not putting the work in when he's on the pitch at all. So if he wanted to go for me in January, then off you go.
Probably us. We'll loan him to Lincoln for New Year's Day. So
he'll probably get 15 goals. Yeah,
he'll play against on New Year's Day and score, mate. We'll have a clause in it and that as well.
It's all right saying that, lads, but he has scored 2 goals recently in games, and he's totally dropped from the squad entirely. There was a space there for him. I do wonder if Alfie May starting over him. If I'm Joe Taylor, and this is the devil's advocate, I guess a little bit. If I'm Joe Taylor and Lee Grant or whoever comes to me and says Alfie May starting this weekend, you're not playing, you're on the bench. If that was the initial plan, I'd have been fuming as Joe Taylor. I'd have had to say something. Now I'm not a professional. I'm not that. But I do wonder if that, because I do feel like throughout this season, there's been moments where we've had players, like I said, Jack Watmore was one of them after Blackpool and Wiles totally missed the game. And there's moments where I think in games, something happens and they can talk about the group being happy all they want, and that we hear from certain sources, Matt, where there's leaks into the club here, there, everywhere, that the club, that the group are really happy and they love everything. There's little things that happen that tells me or suggests to me it might not be the case, and I do wonder if that's what happened with Joe Taylor this week. Because again, Matt, if you're a striker, if you've got the number 9 shirt and you scored, he scored 2 in 2 games, didn't he? And then he didn't score in the last one. Is that what his record is? He
scored against Cardiff, didn't he, towards the end? I remember that. And
yeah, but then not to get the start over Alfie May, Matt. And to be fair, again, Alfie May has been really poor recently. Joe Taylor's come on and scored, and then not to get the nod over Alfie May will have wound Joe Taylor up. And I do wonder if that's a part of it, and that he wasn't just dropped entirely, if that makes any sense. Especially when Peter O'Rourke, like you say, is tweeting out afterwards. I think that's a potential of what may have happened.
Do you? One thing I want to bring up, like I suppose I'll come on the elephant in the room, but like we knew at the start of the season he were a rotation man, and I get we've had a lot of injuries. But when I look, Killer, like you mentioned it before, like for example, and I know you got to manage his minutes, but Volker were in a good moment, as Carlos used to say, that a good moment, and he just played well at Mansfield. And then Luton, he were missing, then we lost, and it's like No, you look at some of these, like no one's getting a run of games, any consistency and stuff. Gooch, I get that there's been knocks and stuff, but it's just chop and change. And like Taylor's another one, and I just think like if I'm an individual player, I'm just trying to think there out of all them players, who's really kind of who can have good morale, because there just seems to be constant in and outs, and it's just like no one can have a run of games.
Two things for you, Kosi. I've got here. Well, we're going to talk about this in the Lee Grant chat next, but Bojan Radulovic just won Player of the Month, got dropped.
Yeah, it was sad.
Who won Player of the Month before? Lee
Too.
Nichols. Lee Nichols won Player of the Month, got dropped. What manager does that? What manager genuinely does that? Drops his form players. And it's baffling, isn't it? Some of the stuff.
It is mad because, like, I know there's always other managers have rotation, but they wouldn't drop your form players, like you said. It's just incredible. So if I'm just always trying to put myself in people's positions. I'm thinking if I'm a player, right, and I just have some good games, or Player of the Month, or had a great game in the goals, or Balker, I've got Mansfield, I feel, you know what, it's been shit this year, but you know what, I've had a good game and I feel good. And then you're not involved next game and stuff. I just trying to think, how would you feel though? Like it
depends bizarre. How he talks. Depends how he talks to them, the conversations he has with them, and if they understand.
Like you'll play today, but not Tuesday or something. I don't know. I don't know. I think Matt Glennon hates this, doesn't he? If you listen to Matt on Radio Leeds, he's just like he hates it. If you got a knock, play it. He's proper old school, and he won't accept people like not playing if you're 99.9% fit to play, and he won't have red zones and all that sort of stuff, or zone 5 and 6, I reckon. But I think he's right though. A lot of the time, just play your players that are in form, play your best players that are in form, and the results will come. Don't drop players when they're in form, because that's how they lose form and lose confidence in what you're doing. It's only Ledson that used to be undroppable. The only way he wasn't playing because he got banned, but he had him straight back. It's like it's bizarre. Another thing, man, like I don't how much a psychologist you can pick stuff out when you're doing crap. But the one thing I noticed at Northampton on Tuesday and yesterday is like Bridge Wilkinson and McShane. Anytime there was a stoppage, mate, like yesterday, Ryan Lowe had like 11 of his guys round him. And again, this is where you can read stuff that maybe you know isn't all that it seems. But honestly, I saw more coaching from McShane and like Grant looks at like a zoned figure behind them with his arms folded and stuff. Barely anyone's talking to him. I thought Josh Lowe a couple of times on Tuesday and Saturday, like just his arm around him. But
that's his dad. You're doing what I'm doing, calling him by his dad's name. I do that with Leo Castle.
Joe Lowe, sorry. Yeah, you don't. Honestly, the trouble is if we won 8 in a row, you probably wouldn't notice that, mate, and you'd be like thinking that just doesn't appear. But you just don't want like I'm just
Johnny took a picture, didn't it? Johnny took that picture of when there was a break in play, and every Wigan player is huddled around Ryan Lowe listening, and then Town players like here, they're over there, they're not looking. And
I think that tells you a lot, mate, don't you?
We've been talking about this for months, Matt. We have gone over this so many times. We must have bored people senseless listening to us. From the touchline, I can't remember seeing somebody as inactive. I can't remember seeing somebody as this engaged.
We sit behind him and we can see him like shouting and pointing, but I don't know what he's saying half the time, and sometimes he just kind of retreats, doesn't he? I don't know.
Was that one-on-one kind of like one-on-one? You know, like body language when you see it's like someone warm to someone. Even at the end, you see him kind of walk to a player, and they kind of like it's like there doesn't seem to be much connection at all. But again, is it just because we're not doing well and you're kind of just looking for stuff like this to kind of beat him with and stuff? But it's sad, and it just doesn't seem like a leader's there to me, and it's so gutting because obviously he's a good guy. I hate kind of calling managers and abusing people. I don't abuse people, but like but it's just there just doesn't seem to be any connection, any camaraderie, any kind of togetherness and stuff. I know everything together is a motto of the club, but it's you couldn't be far.
It's also a WWE one.
Yeah, you just couldn't be far from the truth as well. It's so sad. It's upsetting, mate, because like you say, what are we only still 6 points off place? I don't look at the table for the last few weeks. So we're only 6 off 6.
I don't know. I don't care anymore.
But no.
But shall we? We've rambled on for 48 minutes here. Shall we listen to what the squad have got to say? And I will. But do you know what? I've put all these together and I've not listened to any of them. So I suppose I am responsible for what they say. But this could be interesting. So I haven't put any beeps in if anyone swears or anything. I genuinely haven't checked any of these. So hopefully the squad have behaved themselves. And Killer, it's time to press the answer machine button.
Hello. There is no one here to take your call, so for your convenience, we've answered it automatically. Now don't hang up. When you hear the tone, leave your name and a brief message, and we will contact you upon our return.
Well, I think enough's enough. Enough's enough now. I'm walking back. Just got straight out of the stadium. Enough's enough. That was very, very, very toxic at the end. Chance of you don't know what you're doing. I mean, when you're making subs like that, you're going to get them. But I think enough is enough now. It's gone. Totally gone. We'll see what happens. But I don't think it's salvageable anymore.
John McNamara, Northern Ireland's most handsome man here, coming to you live at 15:48, which is 3:48 p.m. in old money. Just an hour or so after the game. Not even going to waste too much time going on about all the tactical errors that Lee Grant makes from game to game. Needless to say, it cost us again today. It was just absolutely dreadful watching us make the same mistakes and struggle to answer the same questions that we've been posed since the first game of the season. So by the time that you hear this, I expect he will have been sacked. I'm not over the moon about that. Yes, he's a poor manager, but now we have to go and pick his replacement from an ever-dwindling pool of managers because half the football world is probably put off working for Kevin Nagel. Can't say it. Just can't say it. But anyway, season's done. But Christmas is nearly here, so that's all good. Up the time.
Jimmy Hildred here, reflecting on the Town-Wigan game today. Not a bad performance first half. Came out second half just too weak. And the crowd was turning quite vociferously against Lee Grant to the point where when he took May and Castledine off, everyone around me was swearing their heads off at Lee Grant. We're in the family stand, lots of kids around, grown men getting into a fight about how much swearing was going on. Too much hate, and there's no way back from that, I don't think, for Lee. So a new chapter awaits.
It's James Barterby. Recording this at 2:55 after the game yesterday. Currently got the manager interview loaded up on YouTube. It was scheduled for about 20 minutes ago. It still hasn't started yet. So I guess we'll see whether that means they're in the locker room being absolutely torn a strip off, or whether Lee Grant is being relieved of his duties. But Northampton and Wigan, for this squad, that's 6 points. No excuses. That should have been 2 wins. We've now played 20 games. We've now played more at this point than everybody else in the division. We had 2 games in hand not long ago. We've lost them both. And I know, Matt, you want froth in these voice notes. I just can't be arsed. I'm past it. The apathy is set in. And I think that is the worst thing about it. I just don't really care now. I think apathy is far worse than anger. It was quite toxic at the final whistle, quite toxic during the second half, wasn't it? It was certainly coming through the TV with the chants against Grant. And we've got a clear week now till the next game. So if the change is coming, I think it's got to happen today. And the new guy starts on Monday. Surely Chris Markham has someone in his contacts book that would jump at this opportunity to manage this club with that squad and the budget that there is there. I don't know. Maybe I'll do another voice note if Grant does go and we do get someone else in. But I I'm done. I'm done until next week, and then I'll watch that one and be done all over again.
Hiya, Terrier Jack here. What can you say about that? It was absolutely diabolical. Lee Nichols, keep your legs closed. Murray Wallace, what are you doing? You could have been sent off. You could have been arrested for GBH. I just don't know how much more of that I can take. I used to get really excited and have a fizzy feeling in my belly when I walked past the gasworks and I could see the stadium. But now I just can't be bothered going. Oh well, up the town.
What's up, guys? Aiden here. I've got really nothing else to say other than I think that's Grant's time come to an end, and I think it's fully deserved. Yeah, it just hasn't worked out, and I see us not playing for him anymore. Should we keep him around? I see this just continuing to get worse, and if he's allowed to manage the next match, I think it's going to be a heavy defeat. And I think it's going to spell the end of him if this one hasn't already. But yeah, it's gonna have to do something this match. I mean, Kevin can't just sit back and not listen to the way that this crowd was reacting to Grant and listening to the getting sacked in the morning chants. And that's coming from your own fans. It's fucking over with at that point, isn't it?
The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
See, I'm not sure whether that was Terrier Jack or a possible imposter there, but we'll have to come back to that later. It's a good impression if it wasn't. So, a couple of things just to round up here. I think the crowd is a discussion point. I think that's why Phil didn't want to come on, because he didn't really want to come on and have to talk about the crowd. The staff and director's been abused during that spell, and that's just not on. Vent your frustrations towards the pitch and everything, but don't start calling individuals who aren't on the pitch or anything names, staff in the thingy box. It's just not on, and it's ridiculous. You should be more grown up than that. You should be more adult than that, and you should be better than that. But having said that, I also understand the froth that's coming from. I mean, the froth was overflowing, wasn't it, Killer? I mean, the crowd. I mean, me and Pozza disagreed on this. I'm very much of the opinion always that you should try and push the team over the line, and then at full time, if they've let you down, vent, have a go. Have a go. That's it's not something I choose to do, but if that's what people want to do it. But I just don't find some of it helpful in terms of getting a result. And I'm 100% positive that a lot of people in the ground didn't want us to win that game because they thought it might be the end of Lee Grant. I just didn't think it was. I mean, the atmosphere was. I understand it. I just think in some circumstances people should have more control over themselves. You shouldn't be abusing people. You shouldn't be getting into fights. It's a game of football. Grow up. But I do fully understand, and we're not grown up either, but I do understand at the final whistle, the booing, the singing, etc. All for it. You know what I mean? If you let down and that's the reaction, all for it. I don't feel strongly on it, Killer. I just don't think it's helpful during the game to push your team over the line. I just don't find it particularly helpful, but I do understand it at the same point. I don't understand the abuse of club staff. I think that's well out of order. And if anyone does it and you listen, I think you're a bit of a dick.
I agree, Matt. Obviously, that kind of abuse is nonsense, and everybody should have a look at yourself, give your head a wobble, and stop it. You were all grown up, so trying to be grown up. Well, we don't need any of that. But I've not gone to my view on how Lee Grant and his managerial tenure at Town's gone just yet, so I'm going to be a little bit careful here. But listen, you can't take advantage of loyalty by putting season ticket prices up more than most people expected, and then sit here and say, "Oh well, you can't boo us throughout the game." You can't say we can't put season ticket prices up unless we give you more value on the pitch, and then find ourselves with the form that we're in at the moment, in the division that we're in at the moment, having recruited managers previously from positions of strength and talk like that, Matt. and then try and sit here and say, well, no, we can't be at 77 minutes. We've got to wait till 90th minute. No, I don't agree with that. I think, does it help or not? It doesn't. But I'm one of those people, Matt. I was sat there at the end of the game on Saturday, and I didn't want us to win that game, because I think if we win that game, Lee Grant stays in his job, and this situation that we're faced with gets put back a game or two, but we're still faced with it then. And I'll save it until we get onto the Lee Grant chat. But I was one of those people. Again, I wouldn't be booing, but I understand it, Matt. There is a point.
I understand it.
When Stephen Chicken's writing about being a point of no return, it's done, right? We know this. That is the biggest. That's like the Papal smoke. Do you know, out of the Vatican City when they're picking a new one? When that happens, it's as good as done, right? And I think that's where we find ourselves. And the fans knew. They knew when those substitutions were made on 77th minute, it was done. So I get the substitutions. I don't know, Matt, but I understand that. If Town would have won that game, would we have been in a better position? And now we're talking as if Grant has gone or he's going shortly. It changes if he's not. But if he does, it's on the basis of the draw, right? If we'd have won that game, do you think all the problems we're facing would have been solved eventually and would have kind of got through this curve or not? Because that perspective is really important when you judge it. Exactly. So are we better off for not winning that game if what we think is going to happen is going to happen? In my opinion, Matt, yes. So I was one of those people
to me,
who very rarely didn't want to win the game.
If I'm a decision maker, my decision doesn't change whether we won that game or not. Because
but that's the thing, Matt. But we know what the reality of it is, and I think both of us can say it will affect it. There's also, Matt, the issue that we predicted a 1-1 draw, so of course I didn't want any score to change either, because that is a game of jeopardy. Now the driving predictions, they've ruined football for me somewhat, Matt, because if it's even slightly close, if we're winning 3-0 and I've predicted 3-1, genuinely in my head I'm thinking, oh, hang on. If we concede here, it's not too bad for me personally. And that's also where I was at on Saturday. But no, Matt, I was one of those people. And I think it'd have been hypocritical for me to sit here and say that wasn't the case. Because, Matt, unlike other certain people, I can accept when I'm in the wrong or when I've made a mistake. And maybe I was making a mistake on Saturday, but I'm big enough to admit it.
No, I just clarify. I get it. I just don't find it particularly helpful at that point. But it's like the Murray Wallace red card. I don't feel overly strongly about it. I do feel strong on the abuse. The substitution, I think, is the right time to vent that anger. Do you know when you're unhappy with that? I get that. I'm on board with that. Some of the chanting towards Lee Grant, I thought could have maybe waited towards the end. But I get the frustration, and I get fans are just, because those substitutions happen. Town don't look like they're going to go on and win the game. The football's dire. I get it. I'm not angry about that. I get it. The abuse I'm annoyed with, but I'm sure I'll get over that in time. But I understand the crowd, and I'm with them in being frustrated and being unhappy. I didn't go, obviously, because I'm unhappy. Or there was a time thing anyway, but so I'm on board with a lot of it. I just think sometimes try and push them on to the end, and then let them have it at the end. I'm all for that. So I didn't find it particularly helpful, but by the same token, I don't feel particularly strongly about it either. Do you know what I mean? In terms of people doing it, so I'm like, if you did it, you did it. I'm not annoyed with you. People are quite within their rights to express their opinion in the correct way, which is towards the field of play. I just don't like individual abuse and individual stick, and even towards the end, you know, you can sing Lee Grant your footballs, etc. I don't hate that. Do you know what I mean? It's just if there's people frothing at the mouth going, giving him personal abuse, I just don't like that. And I just don't. I'm not on board with that. But by the same token, I understand why people are so mad and frustrated. So I can't sit here and say people are in the wrong. It's just a really crap situation, and it's one I understand. But by the same token, Kosi, it's just a crap position for us all to be in, isn't it? Because we're being fed top two by the owner, and when you're ninth and closer to the bottom four than the top, you're within your rights to be annoyed and fed up and vent.
I've not much to add from what you guys have said. I think you covered it well, but it's just, for me, it's just a conveyor belt of, was it 28 when did we got 2019 just downwards, and it's almost Carlos season almost like even then, Matt. I'm not saying there weren't
people were on board with that. No,
yeah, people there were people I know hated the football and they were glad he went and stuff. So pretty much, some people probably including that season, they've just like seen 7-8 years of just horrible.
That's it, isn't it? It's just a rubbish time for everyone. And you know, people that turned up, fantastic. Do you know what I mean? They're there to support. You know, no one turned up at the first whistle to boo or get on the backs, did they?
I think the thing is like, Nagel took over that year before, just after the season started, but then obviously it didn't go well. We kind of, obviously we stayed up, and then, you know, it's kind of, new owner, new start, fresh start, no relegated, then, okay, you know, we're in League One and we're going to throw a bit of money at it, not happened, and then now, right, we've got the chance, we finally got rid of all them players and stuff, new manager, and no, it's exactly the same again, and I just think, obviously put the prices up, and life's tough at the moment, man, with so much that's going on in the world. I think that's the worst thing. Obviously, I've gone through a tough time in my life, but so you come in that stadium wanting a release from it, and I agree with you, Matt, what you were saying to me yesterday. So one of the reasons you didn't want to come, and obviously the time thing and that's what, but you ate the toxicity. Again, I can't say it. But
I don't like being in. I don't like being in that atmosphere because it makes you unhappy, and you go home and you feel unhappy.
I hate it, mate, and it was horrible yesterday being around people after 85 seconds, boo, get it up, effing this, why are you passing it forward, effing this and jeffing that, and it's like, and if you've got kids, it must be horrible for them to hear that. But
I take a 7-year-old, and this is we sit where we sit is fine. You know, what I mean, no one.
We've done so much of this discussion over the years. You just should cut and paste it from another season, mate. We're here again, aren't we?
I mean, we're not gonna. We're fans as well. We're not going to sit here and criticise all the other fans.
No.
It's
so you could argue it's almost like those that had come not there to abuse, so they're showing their
that's the bit which has annoyed me to hearing that's happened.
So those that have like, right, I'm not coming, so you don't get that toxicity. I'm gonna have to stop saying it. Gap, sit, pronounce it, but then you've got others that are in, just like showing it totally the polar opposite. So them, I'm not coming. Then the others, absolute rage, and then there's the apathy in the middle. It's just awful, mate. And whichever way you look at it, top two is long gone, barring an absolute miraculous.
100% strength and well done to people that are still going and putting up with it. And I mean, I'm not saying we should be clapping them off after that performance whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? I'm on board with people expressing their opinion, and people have got a right to do it, but I just don't like it when it's done in an abusive way. That's all. I mean, the songs about Lee Grant, I mean, it's not. I mean, this Marcus Harness and Ledson looked across to the Cowshed Loyal, didn't they? And I think Marcus Harness was trying to say, you know, help us, get us, push us on, and to be honest, I think it's kind of got past that in a lot of ways for them. And this is not aimed at the Cowshed Loyal at all, who do it. I love what they do. I love the banners and everything. I love that they try and make a difference and try and get everything. But it comes to a point where they've been trying to help you for 7 or 8 years. You know what I mean? And we don't get anything back. And so I get it. I completely get it. I just don't like being in those kind of atmospheres. I don't like seeing my football club go through all that. I don't like seeing it empty. I don't like not going. It's just
coming up to Christmas, Matt, where this is the time of year with this game's sticking past you. Rotherham should be selling out on Saturday. I don't think we'll sell as end. That's unheard of about Rotherham, mate. And could be wrong. We might scrape to sell out. We didn't sell out at Mansfield. Lincoln, another one New Year's Day. It's just like tells you all you need to know, mate. That these, you know. It's always going to Blue and White Foundation and season card and blah, blah. Now it's just like anyone on the street.
This division is garbage as well, mate. This division is so poor. This is honestly
scraping a 4-3 win against Donny yesterday. It's like, what's going on?
This is one of the poorest League Ones I've ever seen. It is so poor.
Cardiff, I'm spent a beam, Matt, and they're top. It's like, that just shows what can be done with a bit of advance from the coach.
Bradford are second. They won about 2 games at 10 to Bradford, and they're still second by points.
I think that's adding to the pain, mate, because they were at half time yesterday, at 3:45, when in a pub, and I just were laughing, like, look at them scores. And I think that just is adding salt into the wound rather than giving you, but obviously it's giving people hope that we can still get on a run, and it's like, oh my days.
Yeah, so I think it adds why people are so annoyed. It's like, you're telling us we've got these players, but you're playing shy. You're playing so badly, and they look so.
Championship, mate. I'd scare me the life.
They look so poor. They look so poor doing it, and we're told that they're these really good players who've got international pedigree, maybe under 21s in some cases, and Alfie May's the top scorer in League One for 3 of the last 4 years and things like that. And we're playing him like we play him, and people are fed up, and they've got a right to be fed up. It's just a horrible situation, and when the crowd turns like that, how do the manager's still there as we're recording? I don't know how he survives that. I don't think I've ever seen anyone turn so badly on a manager. Like I don't think I've ever seen
Wadsworth, mate.
Huddersfield fans. Yeah, but that was kind of understandable because people weren't getting paid. And it was bad before that, but people weren't getting paid. And then I think Jacko's last season was quite painful as well, wasn't it? And it's just. We
had a game though. We had a couple of games where I thought this is good. This is really, really good. We're not even talking like about even take the table out of it. What have you realised? How many games have you come away with? Thought this is good, or we're on the right direction. Honestly, Mansfield, I felt good. Then people are telling me, second half were pretty average.
Mansfield were all right. I thought Mansfield.
That was the last false dawn, and it's not happened. And if it were me, Matt, I think that Wimbledon game would have been the end. I don't know, it's because we got the late goal, that 3-3, that he stayed, but. Obviously, you're in rumours that some in the club allegedly are saying, we're not far off clicking. But for me, I think we're miles off clicking. There's no the team's all over.
They don't want to sack him. They don't want to sack him. They don't want to sack him. But yesterday made it untenable. He's done. He's gone. And the only reason I think he's silly right now, Matt, is the rumour that the squad and the staff are in Dublin and whatnot. And I think they'll want to sack him face to face. I don't see any way how Lee Grant's at Rotherham on Saturday. Because imagine if he is. Can you imagine that atmosphere if it goes south?
Surely they won't let him go to Dublin with the team and then just come back next day. That'd be brutal.
Well, that's only rumour. I
think he'll be there. I think he'll be there at Rotherham. Yeah. I think if he'd have gone by now. You
reckon? Well, I don't understand how much more you can do to lose your job. I genuinely do not, right? We're now 22nd in form. We are 22nd in form over the last 10 games. We've conceded the most goals in the division over the last 10 games. There's no development that I can see, and Matt, you can see game by game. There's no growth. There's no learning. There's no experience learning.
You could hear that sound into the ground. Is that what you mean?
That was to drown out the booze, Kosi. That's what that was. And I was worried at one point whether it'd be too loud, so we couldn't boo. But no, the boos are loud enough. We've won 4 in August, Matt, and 4 since in the league. Everything's trending downwards. A man that came in said would play his way, would play his style, would play front-footed Northern football. Has now tried 3 entirely different systems in 20 games, yet we brought in players to fit a profile he needed for the formation he wanted to play with. The players are visibly falling out with each other at every single possibility. A lot of the players he brought in, that apparently there was no disconnect between director of football and the manager of the team, and the players that he'd bring in were the guys he'd want for his football. A lot of them are not playing. We've got bingo team selections like we had on Saturday. We couldn't really predict it. We knew it'd be a 3-5-2, Matt, but the players in those... an absolute... Horrific substitutions, game in and game out. Every time it's like, what? Ashia, for example, 84th minute. If a game could call out for Ashia earlier than that, it was Saturday. What a joke that was. 92 minutes into the game on Saturday of 96, we're passing it across the back line. 13 completed passes, I think it was. And we even went back to the keeper at one point. With 35 seconds to go, we're still messing around with it on the back line, not getting it forward. We still haven't sent a centre back up front once to try and chase a game, to press for the win. We've had the lowest ever attendance at a Huddersfield Town game in its history at home throughout his tenure. And okay, it's a Virtue Trophy game, so I'll give him that. But that has happened. He accepts zero responsibility at all. Not in one post-match conference have I heard Lee Grant say, I got that wrong. I've got that one wrong. I got my team selection wrong, or I got this wrong. I did something. He's never once accepted responsibility to my memory in a press conference. And honestly, that is something that really, really, really annoys me. He talks about players consistently needing to do better. When he's made mistakes, he never says anything about it. He talks about the group, they need to concentrate in moments. The fans have checked out. Kev's got no option. He's got to go. His presses at this point for me aren't quite as boring as Darren Moore's, but just as unlistenable because of the jargon that gets rolled out week in and week out in the same way. Just everything about it, when you then add on that the fans have turned against him, means he just can't be here. I honestly think, lads, and this is my shout, I might get in a bit of trouble for, I can't remember a worse manager we've had in my lifetime when it comes to, when you consider what he's actually at his disposal. He's brought in the players he wants. He's had a lot of money to do it, and he's inexperienced in that it's his first job, and he's got Alfie May. We've gone out and spent money on players that we've been told he wanted. And a fan base, we just wanted something. We wanted excitement. We got excited on football. We went to Austria. We had a great time. We were buzzing. We even lost to Emily and overlooked that. It was fine. We understood the mitigating circumstances there, but we were still ready for it. I don't understand how better the job could be for a manager, yet still we've managed to, or the managerial as a group. Yeah, look at that. See what I've done there. The coaching staff as a group can't make it work yet. I don't understand how better it could be for them coming into the first kind of role. I really struggle with it, and I'm lost as well. I've got tickets for Rotherham next week, and if Lee Grant's there, I at this point don't want to go. Maybe, well, no, he can't turn around. He can't turn it around. That's the thing. I can't even chuck in just to cover my ass here, or maybe he can turn it around. You know, Kosi, you know, Matt. Everyone listening to this is a Town fan, has been a Town fan for a long, long time, knows it's done. So why are we sat here at the moment at 22 minutes past 10 on a Sunday night? And he still hasn't gone, because it's now a matter of time.
Another thing, Killer, that Johnny Gillespie mentioned, and I got that. I was reading every single interview. He says, we expected that. What the opposition? We expected that. We expected that.
I'll give him a message. I had a sign off on that, which I left out, but I'll read it now. I've written a little message that says, look, Lee, we're frustrated, mate. We need to be better in those moments. We need to be better. We need a manager that's better, that steps up and helps his team win a game. We expect to see the group have some sort of structure and some sort of support from the sideline, but the reality is it just isn't there. Do we expect to see it? Can we get to that point? No, we can't. That's what my sign was going to be, because he just talks the same way every time in riddles. He loves to ask himself questions, but it's the lack of response. It's the lack of accepting any sort of responsibility for why we're doing so poor on the field that I find really triggering for some reason, and I don't know why. I think we can all see mistakes that are being made, yet everyone pretends it's just the players, and it's not just the players. It isn't just the players. The system against Cardiff wouldn't have worked regardless of what 11 we picked, and at some point, you have to accept that that's on the manager. And I think the fans, as a group, are at that point.
Not to add, Killer. I think I'm with you, mate.
Yeah, I think we're all with you. I can't. I don't understand why it's. I don't like talking about people's jobs and livelihoods and stuff like that.
Just on that quickly. We are like I say we're like art critics, like we're idiots. I can understand that, but we're not criticizing him as a person. He's performing a role as an actor on a stage, which is a football manager. That's not what he's like in personal life. It's nothing about that. It's just, as a football manager, you're a person in a play that we're all fascinated with, and the fascination drives the money, and that's why it's so wealthy as a sport, and the people are paid so handsomely. So this is what you have to face, unfortunately, as a football manager. But again, that's why you get paid thousands of pounds every week, and it's a part of the job description. I don't think anyone's been unfair. I don't think anyone's, well, I know some people do step over the line, but at this point, when you're criticising in this way, I feel this is done in a way that should be acceptable or should be expected for football managers. But again, no one's saying he's a bad man. No one's saying he's not a nice person. That's not what's being said. For me, anyway, it's just the football management side of it.
Not on here.
But the football management side of it isn't where it should be, and it's a long way off it. And when the fans aren't turning up,
it's regressing as well.
That's it. That's the trend, Matt. We've all seen it. We saw it with Scoffer. He's possibly the only manager I've seen who, in my opinion, I'd say is tactically inferior to Lee Grant. I think he was even. No, I thought Fotheringham were all right, Matt. I didn't think he was too bad. I just thought he was an absolute idiot. When he spoke, everyone just wanted to fight him, fans and players, by the sound of it. But tactically, I didn't think he was too bad. It was just a bit boring. But I can accept a bit boring. I just can't accept clueless substitutions at the 77th minute, game after game. That's where my line is.
It's just absolutely draining, though. If we'd have got used to that corner flag and what have you, had have been, been relieved. I wouldn't have been yes or getting it. I'm absolutely drained of this happening season after season. Just like, honestly, it's so destroying, isn't it? Because it's just like deja vu. And
the biggest problem, Kosi, the biggest problem for Lee Grant at the minute. So the biggest problem for Lee Grant, or the biggest argument for keeping Lee Grant, is that we've sacked too many people before Lee Grant. Yeah. And when that's the only reason to keep a man in the to keep him, it's the wrong reason. And I don't. I mean, we hear, don't we, Killer, that people think that it will come good under him, and he's put little seeds in place that'll grow later on in the season. But I can't see it. I just can't. I want to see it. I want to believe, but I don't. I just don't. It's getting worse. He's at the point now where he's talking in increased levels of jargon because he knows he's under threat. So he's trying to impress people by calling people mate in the press conferences and then talking about zones 5 and 6 to come across as an intelligent football manager. But it doesn't. It just comes across as desperate to me, of a man trying to cling on to his job, struggling to do so. And at this point, I'm just like, there's two arguments for not getting rid of, there's two arguments for keeping him. One is that we can't keep sacking managers, and the other is that there's not a lot better out there. And when neither argument is about a strength of his to keep him there, then you're struggling. And I want him to come good. I want it to work, but it's not.
I was having a ding dong with a few around me yesterday saying, well, Johnny, and I found it really hard because I just don't want to see Johnny as they taking over or Worthy or whatever again. But someone said they couldn't do any worse, and you know what? I couldn't argue back to that. You
I
can't.
don't know. The old Mick McCarthy thing. It could. Yeah. You know what I mean? It could always get worse.
Yeah, no, maybe, but
It did when Duff went, it got worse.
It did. No, fair point. And I don't think after what happened, I don't think Worthy'd want it back again, whether they'd offer him it.
No, I don't think he would. No.
You'd like to think though that Chris Markham would have, someone in mind that we would, But
I'm sure he does, but
yeah,
it's just. I think a lot of the names, Kosi, that people go, oh yeah, why don't we get Michael Carrick? Michael Carrick is not coming to Huddersfield Town in League One. He wouldn't come when we were in the Championship. He turned us down because we couldn't afford him. We can't afford him now in League One. No. Be realistic. There's no one really out there. Even someone, I think Liam Manning would be good, but at this moment in time, he's got family issues. He's just had a job which went severely wrong, and he's on a massive wedge, having been paid out from Norwich. So he would have to forsake that to take a lower wage at Huddersfield. Would he do that? Given that he's had loads of family issues, I wouldn't if I was him. I'd take more time out from football. But I do understand that the longer you stay out of it, it's harder to get back into it. But so I just don't think we're in a horrible situation where if he goes, it could get worse because who would you go to? But also, again, that's not a good enough reason to keep someone in a role.
I remember, Matt, when Yorkshire playing at York, I'm not going to name the name, but it won't take one to guess, in the BBC interviewer had interviewed Lee Grant just when he'd come, and I remember saying, what do you think? He says, you know what, he'd come across really well, but I just don't think he's got the pressure to get Huddersfield up. I just don't think he's going to get the time, and yeah, I think it's all going to be...
That's it. That's why you look at it now and you think, what were they thinking? Do you know what?
Yeah, it does. No,
what were the decision makers thinking?
But then I'm thinking, what were we thinking? Because our podcast in August, I bet we were speaking differently there. It's almost sometimes I would a bit wise off the event, but
not massively.
Because I'm thinking now, it's like when you look back on it, we needed someone to get us up this season. It's not, it had to be. So get someone in.
Financially, we have to get up. Otherwise, we're going to end up coming up against lots.
Yeah, we got a guy in
financially.
We did spoke about when he came in after his interviews that it'd be fine if we were winning games, but as soon as he started losing games, it would grate on the fans, and we weren't sure if it'd grate on the players and that if we'd see any sort of player rebellion. And whilst I don't think we've seen the player rebellion we saw under, like say, Schofield especially, I think we have seen apart from Alpha May, but there's ill discipline, and I think it's pretty safe to say there's obvious symptoms of ill discipline when you look at him on the pitch. For me, anyway. The thing with Lee Grant, though, I don't know whether he's up to the pressure or not. I guess changing 3 times systemically suggests that he's not. But it's not that. It's just his in-game isn't good enough. His in-game is not good enough.
Yeah,
he doesn't see the game like a football manager should. He doesn't, or if he does, he doesn't adjust on it. He doesn't have the confidence or the ability to act on what everyone else can kind of see. And he can't change games from the sideline. He did earlier in the season by making subs. But what he did then was, it was Wiles against Doncaster that should never have been dropped. He dropped him. We were battered for 45 minutes, only just in the game. Brought him on, and then afterwards kind of suggested that was kind of the plan, to bring him on and then change the game up, when realistically we were lucky. And we spoke about it, Matt, that doing it that way doesn't work over the course of the season. You can't just rely on substitutions coming on and changing games every single time. You have to over the course of the season get it right from kickoff. And I think in the majority of games,
very rarely does it?
We haven't done that.
I can't believe
And
it.
you see, 20 games in, though, and 20 games in, I'm not saying you're going to be Alex Ferguson 20 games in, you're not. But you have to see some sort of progression. And as you said, Matt, everything's pointing to a massive regression. And I'm not with you on it in that it can get worse. I know it can technically. Yes, it can get worse. But genuinely, I think you could put in any competent manager and they'd at least get what we're getting now. At least.
Killer, you're forgetting the Virtu Trophy, mate. We've got an home target, Rotherham, mate. We've manoeuvred some tough games. You were so negative, you guys. Look at this Virtu Trophy run, mate. What we give to have a day out when we're so. Honestly, these two here.
If we get to the final,
500 going.
Mate, honestly, if we get to the final at Wembley in that trophy and we continue with the way we are, we'll struggle to sell 20,000 tickets and it'll be embarrassing.
Yeah.
It'll be embarrassing. Because people won't go because Lee Grant's still manager and the league form scrap.
Oh, mate,
I might be one of them. might be one of them at this rate.
Booing it as soon as the game kicks off, Matt. Is that what you're saying? Is that the first Virtue Trophy where the manager gets booed from kickoff? Still taken.
There's only one team.
That were good. Yeah.
Only one team have been booed off after a game at Wembley in living memory, and that was 1995 Leeds United in the League Cup final against Aston Villa. And they got booed off. They got booed on and booed off, which was really funny.
Positive. So
we're not laughing now about them, though.
Northampton's got great cottage pie, which were incredible. I've never seen cottage pie at a football match in Europe. Never in the history of Europe. Beautiful cottage pie. I'm trying to think of the positives.
I've got one.
Only retro shirts are really nice. I'm glad they're back. They look cool for Christmas. Yeah.
H-Town before the game yesterday had a singer in called Sienna. She's a 19-year-old. Her singing was on point. It was incredible. I went in expecting to see another Town player who's injured talking to somebody about why they weren't playing today and giving the usual boring answers, but no, it was a singer entertainer and it was really, really good. So actually, Town, the entertainment in H-Town was top notch. I don't know what the salad was like though for Neil. Unfortunately, I didn't have any meals, so I'll have to leave that one for somebody else. If it was
no meals, Neil.
Quick U-turn yesterday. Lee Nichols, he's gone. He's left in his car with all his gear on. Get it on Twitter. Oh my God! Yeah, clickbait. Charlie had to do a quick U-turn.
Lee Nichols did leave the game in his kit.
Doesn't it? It's been on a few of them football groups, hasn't it, this morning? That it's
he left.
It just shows the crowd.
I think we need to clarify, Kosi, that he left in his kit because his wife had gone into labour. So
no shit stirring on X. But you know what? It shows how bad our crowds are. The fact that he could just drive out and get on and get going quick, isn't it? Bad.
I tell you what, game's gone.
I can't believe they don't close that road still.
Game's gone. My missus were in labour once, and I went for a beer after the game, and then got there just in time. So actually, there's still questionable actions there. Lee. Honestly, mate, sometimes you got to stick around with the lads. But no, fair.
My missus went Lazio killer with his kit on, just having a beer, and that way everyone.
Then I'll swift two, and then I'm down.
When my missus started going into labour killer, I went to get my hair cut and then came back.
I can believe that, Matt. Knowing what we're like on a Thursday driving, if it's just every second week, mate, I know exactly how Rachel felt on that one.
I know. I had to go get my hair cut and then came back. He's still having a Oh dear. Right, we've been rambling on for an hour and a half. It's
86 minutes. Can we get within past 4 minutes? Yeah.
a good result. Good results for Town women today, Kosi. Their game was called off against Doncaster Bells, but elsewhere everything went quite well.
Yeah, I think it was meant to be in Donny's main stadium as well, but it's got had a lot of rain. But yeah, no, it's boiling up nicely, Matt, to be honest with you. I think it could be a Town and Leeds shutout next season. Next year, sorry, for the year. But as one of the players said to me today, they need to get that top spot because I think the others are in the playoffs. So it's only one up, so you kind of think 2 or 3 up. So, but no, they've got a lot of injured players, mate, and when they come back, it's hopefully should be an exciting. Let's just hope the men can get their finger out and maybe we can have 2 promotions, but it feels a long way off at the moment.
Yeah, well, who knows? But as far as we know, Lee Grant's still in post at the minute, which means Killer might not be going to Rotherham, but we will still be doing a drive-in at some point this week. Lads, we've lived, we've loved, we've frothed, but I think it's now time to end the podcast and stick some music on, Killer. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for putting up with our ramblings, and there's a lot of them today, and a lot of them are incoherent as well because Kosi's on the pod. So all the best, guys, and check us out later on in the week for the drive-in, and also join the boys on the town social where you can get involved and get some messages sent to them.
He's in Sri Lanka, isn't he? Will he be joining in on the Zoom, or
I think so.
Will he, or will he just sack it because he's abroad? We've all done abroad podcasting this time. So, Andy, come on, mate. Go up a gear for the lads.
Right, silly.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, they're the pride of the town, and the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.